Thank you, everyone, for spending your afternoon and joining us at Level 3 virtually for this session. For some of you who don't know Level 3, we are an ecosystem and we create communities of interest. It's a partnership between Unilever Foundry and Padang & Co. We host about over 60 startups with 8 corporate partners. And what we do best is help startups connect to corporates and collaborate, and which is far more important in these times. And today's session is very, very important. As all of you must have heard in the budgets, training and skills is the next big thing, and is the most important thing that will take us through. So I want to talk more about it. I've got some amazing experts from SkillsFuture, so a big thank you for them to put this together. And I've got Barbara with me from Unilever Foundry. Before I pass this on to Barbara, just a few housekeeping stuff. This platform works best on Chrome. If you have any technical issues, just shout out in the chat. Keep your questions coming. We will try and address them as soon as possible. And yes, keep it interactive. And if you want to know more about Level 3, just drop us an email. You will find the details later on in the chat. Over to you, Barbara.
Hey, hi. Thank you, Upma. Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to kick off this first webinar for SkillsFuture. Just a few words. As you may know, Unilever Foundry is the platform that helps startups to engage with Unilever, but also Unilever to engage with startups. So we are very happy to bring to our startup community through the Level 3 this webinar to help you to navigate among all the different opportunities that you can find within SkillsFuture. So just a quick note from myself and what I have seen. Obviously, this crisis is going to be difficult for everyone and for startups, especially the early stage and young startups. You will definitely find a cash crunch that will impact your company and your business plan, but also getting visibility from your customer are going to be essential for you to keep that connection, to be able to bounce back as soon as the crisis is over. So keep this in mind. Use this crisis or this moment to test the resilience of your company and your people. It's a very good stress test for you as a founder or as a member of the startups to manage what's happening now. Be honest also with your employees that you have, and training them, offering training opportunity and upgrading their skills is the right timing now to do it. So I hope you'll enjoy this webinar and you'll find a lot of opportunities to and courses with SkillsFuture Singapore. So that's it for me. I'm going to let it go to Peggy, who is the director of SSG Enterprise Singapore office, and she will do a short introduction about SkillsFuture. Thank you. Over to you.
Thanks, Barbara. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Very heartwarming to be able to do this session together with Unilever Level 3. Increasingly with the very difficult situation, I think, as you've heard from our Deputy Prime Minister yesterday announcing the Fortitude budget, there's really a lot of support scheme that the government has put in place for individuals, for households, as well as for businesses. And I picked the key phrase which Barbara used, which was navigation. And I think what we really want to do, working with important and good partners like Unilever, is to help businesses to navigate the incentives as well as the support schemes that we have, because we understand that you take a while to be familiarized with what we can do for you, and also it will take a while for you to find the relevant initiative to suit your need. I also picked up another key phrase by Barbara, which was honesty. Having honest conversations with your employees, especially during this difficult period, that's very important. And I guess from a SkillsFuture perspective, what we really want to do with the businesses is also to have honest conversation. We understand it's a very difficult time. We understand cash flow is important. We understand that business priorities have changed, and a lot of you are struggling as you try to find your new business opportunities, as you try to pivot your business model. And skills is something that often is not very intuitive for businesses. You don't instantly think about training and skills. You think about how you want to develop your product, how you want to make them unique so that you can gain a better market share. And being in a startup space, that makes you less advantaged. Or there are two sides to the coin. You are nimble, you're agile, you're new, you're innovative, you're creative. People want to go to you, for what you can offer to them. As an institution, the companies may have their own legacies and they're not able to think so quickly. But on the other hand, being new and being small, you're disadvantaged because you have more mature players out there. And you also will find yourself having a hard time trying to explain to people, why you're the best amongst, all the other people who might be delivering the same innovation or the creative solution like you do. It's a very challenging time, and we are not professing to say that SkillsFuture has all the resources and the answers for you. And aptly put, today the webinar is really about simplifying SkillsFuture for you, helping you to understand what we have to offer in the simplest form as we can. And we definitely want to continue to work with Unilever and the Foundry to journey with you as we ride through this very difficult time, as we grow out of it, as we recover, as we help you strengthen your business model, and as you grow from a startup phase to someone who is more mature and more stable and more resilient. So today we have Jun Yi, who is from our Skills Development Division. He will be able to share some insights on what we have gleaned, from globally, what's happening in the startup scene. Jun Yi comes from a division where they also look at future training and skills needs. They also looked at the future of learning, and they also looked at the future of work. So he has some interesting content to share. And later on, after Jun Yi, my colleague Cecilia will also be sharing. And she will also be giving you a live demo of how you can access some of our resources. And I think the cherry on the cake really is we have curated a special training menu for all of you. And this one is done together with Unilever and the Foundry. We've heard, some of your skills requirements. So we have already put together a list of training programs. So we went on and, we went to search on some of the relevant initiatives that we think would be suitable for you. And we've put them quite nicely in a plan, which we will share after this session. So without further ado, I'll hand the time over to Jun Yi, and feel free to ask any questions if you have during this session. And after this session, we are more than happy for you to write to us as well. Thank you so much. Jun Yi, over to you, please.
Thanks, Peggy. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jun Yi. I'm a job skills analyst from Skills Development Division. So I'll be talking to you about emerging trends and you. What does SSG do? I think they have been saying that previously already, but just to summarize, what we do is to make sure that we have a mission of lifelong learners. We emphasize a lot on skills mastery. And what we want to do is to make sure that everyone can have the necessary skills to develop a fulfilling career, and this will help Singapore achieve an economy where everyone has the necessary skills for the jobs that they want to do. So what are job skills analysts? a new initiative by SkillsFuture to achieve the aims stated above. So what we've been doing is that we're looking at different sources such as CB Insights, LinkedIn Talent Insights, a lot of different data sources that are reputable. We combine them together, analyze them, validate them with the industry, and then we craft them into such high quality insights which we then deliver to our stakeholders. And this is one example of one of the insights which we are trying to deliver to stakeholders today to aid your decision making. Okay, so I'll go on into the main content. Right, so I think this is not surprising that the impact of COVID-19, the economy is down everywhere, and this also affects the funding to startups. Investors are worried about the outlook. They are putting their money in more safer investments areas, and especially the Asia-based funding has taken a large hit. So understandably, startups may worry about what do we do going ahead? How do we continue to stay afloat, to stay relevant in this environment? However, what you may not, this again may not be totally new. Not all sectors are being affected negatively. Some sectors are actually benefiting from this economic shock because it enhances their business model, like e-commerce. Since now people can't go to brick and mortar shops, so they will go to shop online. Technology that's built around like developing a virtual online store is gaining traction. And then like food delivery, overseas people can't go and buy food. So this may not be the sector or the business that your own company is doing, but there may still be certain things from these startups, right, that are relevant to your business. So it's not just about I don't deliver food to people, so this doesn't affect me, but it's so how can I deliver my products to people in a different manner now and make it so that it's more convenient for them, it's more accessible, and then this will help me gain more customers in the future. And so what we did for this session, right, we want to look at what skills may be useful to startups that are irrelevant of the sector. So actually we analyzed 20 unicorns, which here we define as startups with over $1 billion US in valuation. And then we look at this, we look at all these unicorns, the skills on LinkedIn, Talent Insights. Then we see what are the common like horizontal skills. We didn't want to look at so all these unicorns came from a multitude of different sectors. Some maybe biotech, edutech, e-commerce, and so on. So we don't want to look at the skills that are specific to one sector. They may not be helpful to you, like that biotechnology. That may not be a skill that only those firms or companies in biotech will need. So we look at horizontal skills and see what is the most common ones across all these unicorns. And since all of these have high valuation, then that means we'll define it as that's how they're successful and what may be a good proxy to use. Some of the companies we looked at, I don't know whether you know them. Course Hero is an edutech learning platform from the USA. Bukalapak is an Indonesian e-commerce platform. Cambricon manufactures semiconductors from China. And Aprogen is a biotech company from South Korea. So these are just some of the bigger companies that we looked at in our analysis. So the first area that I would like to talk about is about the brand management and customer engagement. First thing is just that standing out is important. Even though it's a common thing that people know that I need to make sure that my company is memorable, but you should keep remembering that it's both how to make yourself stand out to the consumers and to the people funding your company. And especially with more and more startups coming up nowadays, how do you actually stand out among all these different startups? What differentiates your startup from other startups? The competition is very high and the stakes are high as well, because if one startup can get a much larger funding from another simply because of a better brand management and being memorable, especially online now, having a big online presence, since now people are moving more towards online shopping, researching stuff online after COVID-19. So building your online and offline brand presence is very important now. Technology also ensured that there's a lot of different ways to build your brand presence. So besides just traditional advertisements, there's also engaging influencers using new media platforms, and especially for younger target audiences. For example, Instagram influencers on video streaming platforms such as Twitch. So all these platforms engage viewers in a different way. And they should be considered when you're doing your marketing. So there's also like embedded ads in social media. So when you're scrolling Twitter or Facebook, you sometimes see the embedded ads or ads at the start or the end of a video or during a stream. All of these are different ways that you can consider for your business to increase your presence online and your brand. So effective use of all these marketing platforms will help a lot. And on top of that, it's also about making sure that when people actually go to visit, so they already saw your advertisement, right? They go to your website, maybe they want to buy something for you or do business with you, but your website is not user friendly. They don't know how to get in contact with you. They don't know how to buy the things that you're selling. So making your website and all your customer and external facing platforms having a good UX and UI design is also very important. It's also the skills that we identified that could be relevant to companies are these: communications channel management, marketing mix management, brand portfolio management, social media marketing, digital marketing, customer feedback and relationship management. So all of these skills that actually found in the skills framework with SSG has been we actually made this as a to codify all the skills in the sectors present in Singapore, and to try and have a repository of all the skills and what are the different knowledge and abilities you need for each skill. So if you need to increase your capability in this area, these are some of the skills you can check out, and then the courses that will be teaching these skills. The next area is human resources. Again, this may sound a bit of a no-brainer. Every company has human resources. You all need to hire people, do promotion and salary and so on. But there's also some changes in HR due to how HR tech is actually evolving. So now your talent pool is not limited to just your country, but also globally, especially now that remote work is becoming more common. So you don't want to limit yourself to just finding staff within your own country. You want to be able to use technology to find staff in any country as long as they fit your company's needs. And that will allow you to make sure that you can find people with the skills profile that you need. And then even though you can get your company advertised on multiple platforms, and then what are the different platforms in each country that are suitable, you know how to advertise yourself in different countries, and then use all these platforms to find talent. When you actually get all these people applying to you, how do you actually find out who is the one that's suitable for your company? At the start, you may not have a lot of employees or applications, but as you go bigger and bigger, you definitely have way more than you can handle by just having one or two people to look through all the resumes. So how do you find out which are the suitable ones? You to use technology to look at the resumes. Now there's algorithms and so on that can sort through the resumes, look for keywords or like create a profile of the person through the words in the resume. And so this will help you more effectively filter out the signal from the noise, and they can find out which are the ones that are more suitable candidates from the start. So it's already you use technology to really shortlist applicants for you. And so this will help recruitment processes a lot. So some also jobs have been changing nowadays. Now there's the increasing presence of hybrid jobs. If you look at the picture there. So over the years, there's been this new trend which we took from Burning Glass Labor Insights, where jobs actually use both technical and like soft skills such as creativity, like creative type of skills, because this actually helps them to do their job. It's not just all about focusing purely on like programming and so on. Having creative skills or business skills together with the programming skills will help make them a better staff. You help them in their thinking processes. You help them deliver their presentations to others, and convince people that their ideas are worth listening to. So, what are some of the skills that HR staff can look for? Recruitment channel management, digital marketing and communication, performance management, talent capability assessment. These are all skills we have in the skills framework for human resource, and then we have courses for as well. And the last area which I'd like to talk about, again, not new, data analytics. But what's the change here? So data and processing data has been around forever. But now what we want to do is, what do we do with all this data that we can track and use it to make a good decision? One, we have better tools to make sense of all this data that will come in. It's very easy to collect data, but how do we make sense of it? So there's a lot of data processing tools, not just Excel, there's R, there's Python, SAS, and so on. How do we analyze all this data and put it together into a model? And then we can see how do we drive our business decisions. So we want to make sense of who are our sales going to, the demographic of the sales. HR, who are the people that we're employing, what's the demographic, what kind of skills profile do we need, where are these skills, where are the people with these skills located, what's the skill stock of an area or country, our workflow processes. So we see that, at some areas this takes a very long time. Is it a bottleneck that could be solved through other means? Or data can help you make decisions in every part of your business. But the difficult part is finding the data, the clean data, and then making sense out of it. So there should not be a case where you overlook data as this is too difficult to do, it's too technical. Every company should actually look into making sure that the data they collect is being processed somehow, and using it to inform their decisions, especially from the new trends. So you want to collect data on how are the new trends affecting you. So now we see that pre-COVID-19, post-COVID-19 again, there's all these new business models coming, all these new trends. What do people want? So you need data on that. What are people looking for in this new economic outlook? Can that affect what product you're making for people? If you don't understand the people's needs, right, like through market research, then you can better make a product that people want to buy. And not just about the data that you collect and internally, but also about presenting it to people. Because even if you analyze all this data, if people don't understand it, you can't make any decision out of it. So now there's a lot of tools that people can use. Tableau is one popular example nowadays. So one is to make sure that your own internal management is understanding the data that you have compiled. The other is to make sure that your data can help customers make decisions, which can then lead to them looking for your products. So you can give them statistics or like research on how people have benefited from your products, and all this in a way that makes it as accessible and understandable for them. So once they realize that there's a need for this product, then they'll be more willing to buy into what you're selling. And again, we have a lot of skills that are meant for this: visual data storytelling, infographics and data visualization, data analytics, data mining, market research. So this covers a wide span of subjects. It's not just about the technical part of data science, doing the programming work, but also about how to convey this into an infographic or other suitable form of presentation to people, and also on how to engage researchers to look at the market, to better understand what are the current trends, what are the upcoming trends, what are things that seem good now but may not be trendy later. It's just a fad or something. So all of these are important to companies, and should be considered when you are looking at what courses should I train my staff in, or what should I focus on in the future. So that's all from me. I'll actually hand you over to Cecilia for now to look at what are the courses we have available that we can train these skills. Thank you.
Yeah, so I was sharing that this is the course list that we have actually put together, respective to those areas that Jeannie has mentioned, to those critical skills under the area like brand management, customer engagement, and data and analytics, as well as HR and general business skills. Yeah. So, right, maybe just a few things. So this is an example of the actually the enhanced absentee payroll funding. It shows you how it works. We will not elaborate here, but we'll talk about it later in the next few slides. Yeah. So just to highlight, right, together there are 20 courses, all right, in this list. And if you see this icon here, it means that it is online learning, all right, and also the estimated cost here is it does not include GST. And the next thing is you have to check with the training provider to confirm on the net cost fee, because sometimes it is different from the website, as different companies may have different, or individuals may have different funding. But in general, the SMEs will get higher funding. Okay. So next, what I will share with you is how to go about, let me take out my slides first. 1 second. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, next we will walk you through the different types of resources and support that employers like yourself can tap on. And we will also show you how to go about navigating in our SkillsFuture portal to identify the relevant skills and training courses, which will provide you with some help to make you make better decisions for training that meets your business needs. Okay. Right. So businesses have two common considerations when they think about training. One is what type of training should I invest in? And two, how much will it cost me? So if you know you need to upskill your employees or yourself, but you don't know where to start, for example, what are the skills and competencies for a particular job role, or what type of training that are relevant to my needs. So yeah, and these are also, and at the same time, there are also other issues like, training is so expensive. My manpower is so lean already. How can I afford to have one staff less, when she or he, is going away for training. So if all these, hit a chord or two with you, so we want to let you know that you are not unique. There are many resources supported by SSG as well as other agencies that you can tap on to address some of the challenges that you are facing. I think more importantly is the mindset to want to upskill and to embrace training. Yeah. So, or, if you already know what skills you need and simply need to, need help to find, the right course and training provider you can use, this course directory under my SkillsFuture portal. So you can try, you can search by actually exact skill set, or search by recency or popularity, or even sectors, and also search for providers with good quality ratings. Yeah, actually you can actually try now using your phone to scan this QR code, and it will bring you to the portal. I can actually do a quick demo to you, and then you will see, all these interfaces. Yeah. So let's do a quick demo on how. So you scan it with your phone or your computer. You just click onto the link. It will actually take you to our course directory, which is in my SkillsFuture portal. Right. So this is what you will see. Okay. So say that I'm a startup, right? And oh, where is it? Sorry, what happened to my screen? Let's try this again. Yeah, okay. So let's say, here is loading a bit slow. Okay, let's say I'm a startup and probably I need to find out more about how to seek funding. So maybe we type in venture capital. So that you can see here, venture capital financing. This is the course title already pops up, right? So what we do is we just click on this. On the course title, we do a search. Okay, all right, and then you can see the course pops up here, and then we actually click onto the course title, and then it will take us to the landing page for the course itself. Yeah. So you can actually look at all the key information here, like the training duration, the job level, and also you will see the training provider here, and the course fees are here, right? Full fees as well as net fees, but you do have to call the training provider to confirm this. right? And then the course objectives and content is here for your reading, as well as there's a quality of the course rating here that you can take a look, so that you can actually choose your training provider based on this rating. You can also click on this link to give you a further breakdown on the areas that is rated by the participants. Okay, so yeah, and it is actually that simple. And if we go back to the main course page, right, actually you can also search through all these different tabs where you can see COVID-19 suggested courses, new courses, or even like online courses. There are many different categories, as well as the tech-enabled series. Yeah. Okay, so I think I will stop here, and now I will go back to my next slide. Okay, if you are unsure where to start, and perhaps looking at who your competitors are hiring would provide a reference point, you can actually use our skills framework to benchmark the talent that you need. So the skills framework articulates skills and competencies of job roles in the sector and matches them to available training programs. You can use them to plan your talent development in a more structured approach. So there are 3 useful resources you could tap on. First is the one-day workshop on how to use the skills framework, and it is complimentary. All right, the second one, you can refer to the skills frameworks templates that are already pre-filled for guidance to develop your own for your employees. And third, we have partnered with some solution providers and developed some HR solutions that are powered by our skills frameworks for your adoption if you are looking for a HR solution. All right, you can also use the skills frameworks to find suitable courses in 4 easy steps. So first you scan the code and then go direct to the skills framework, and then you select the sector that you want, right? And then you click on how does it work, and then you will scroll right down until you see training programs where there will be a list of relevant programs for your downloading. Okay, or if you find all these too troublesome, right? Or maybe you need some recommendations, you can check out actually the list of courses we have curated under the SkillsFuture series in 8 emerging skills areas. Right, so each emerging skills areas offers courses packed at 3 proficiency levels: basic, intermediate, and advanced. And these courses are typically 3 to 5 days in duration and are offered primarily by our polytechnics and universities. Okay, next, there are also other curated programs for leadership and internationalization programs we have curated together with TWC, INSEAD, and the IHLs for your consideration as well. Right, so as a part of our partnership with Unilever, we sought Unilever's input on skills in demand for the startup community, and also look at skill trends to put together the list of the 20 courses which I've shown you earlier that you can consider. All courses listed are supported by SkillsFuture Singapore, and Singapore citizens or PRs who are sponsored by their employers for training, you can attend at a subsidized rate. We'll be sharing the list after the webinar, so you can slowly digest it. And next we have is, okay, so if you still, if you still feel, it's challenging to send your staff away for training, it's okay. So SSG provides companies with support for workplace learning through the National Centre of Excellence for Workplace Learning, or NACE for short. They are actually a part of They are part of Nanyang Polytechnic and offer training and consultancy services to help companies put in place workplace learning infrastructure for sustainable learning practices. So the program is about 9 months and conducted in phases. There are only a few days classroom learning, and the rest of the duration will be in consultation, helping your company to develop your training blueprint or, on the job training plan. And the program also include learning coaching skills, or we call it the train the trainer approach, as well as developing a mentoring system at the workplace. Right. So next, actually to hang on. So right, we have the $1 million question. How much will all this training cost me? Yeah. So hang on. Let me see. Yep. All right. So for Singaporeans and PRs, I say they are supported. Employers are supported with employers will actually receive up to 90% cost fee funding support if they are SMEs or if they are sending employees aged 40 years and above for training. And on top of that, they can also claim up to $7.50 per hour absentee payroll funding to offset the opportunity cost of sending their workers for training during working hours. So to help mitigate and soften the impact of the COVID-19 on businesses, SSG will be providing a time-limited enhanced training support package to help eligible companies defray business costs and upskill workers. We have hence enhanced the cost fee and absentee payroll funding support levels to $10 per hour per employee on absentee payroll and 90% cost fee funding for the 6 severely affected sectors. So they are the air, transport and tourism sector, the retail and F&B, the land transport such as private vehicle and bus companies, as well as the arts and culture sector. And these are the list of selected training providers for the 6 sectors. Yeah, we'll be sharing with you the stack of slides as well. So yeah, you don't have to take pictures of this. Next, we want to share with you is the SkillsFuture Enterprise Credit. Right, for employers who wish to transform their business, you can now receive greater support to also transform your workforce concurrently. Right, so enterprises who are eligible for the SkillsFuture Enterprise Credit, SFEC in short, will receive a one-off $10,000 credit to cover up to 90% out-of-pocket expenses when they tap on existing enterprise or workforce transformation programs and grants. So some of the programs are listed here for enterprise transformation, as well as for workforce transformation. For example, you might be familiar with the enterprise development grant or the PSG, the productivity solutions grant. Right, and for workforce transformation, there is programs like the professional conversion program or job redesign programs that employers could consider. Yeah, so there is a cap of $7,000 for SFEC and for enterprise transformation, and the balance $3,000 you can use to pay for your out-of-pocket expenses for training, or alternatively you can use the full $10,000 for training. Yeah. So let me show you how it works. Yeah, so for example, right, say the solution you're adopting costs $30,000, and with the PSG grant of $21,000, you can use the $7,000 SFEC to offset the $9,000 out-of-pocket expenses after the PSG grant. So at the end of the day, the employer actually only pay $2,000 for a $30,000 solution. Yeah. So likewise, for the workforce transformation, right? So you can either use the full 10,000 or the balance 3,000 of SFEC for training, and this is how it works. If the full course fee is $1,000, right, and after the enhanced course funding of 90%, plus SFEC covers 90% of the out-of-pocket expenses. Actually, at the end of the day, you only pay $11.50 for a $1,000 training program. Right. So you don't have to apply for SFEC. It is automatically credited into your account as long as you meet the criteria. And on this note, we want to highlight 2 points. So the company must have already contributed $750 of skills development levy over a qualifying period, which you can see here. Yeah, and also the company must have employed minimally 3 Singaporeans or PRs every month over the same qualifying period. So employers do take note of these 2 points. Yeah, and I have with me, this is my last slide. So there are other non-SSG resources for startups to tap on. For example, the Startup SG by ESG. All right, it actually brings together an array of schemes and a network targeted at nurturing your startup at any size or stage of growth. So ESG hopes to provide you a launchpad to connect to the global stage. Yeah, and then there is the Startup SG Founder, which provides mentorship and startup capital grant of 30,000 to the first-time entrepreneurs with innovative business ideas. So startups are required to raise and commit 10,000 as co-matching fund to the grant. And third, we have the Startup SG Tech Grant, fast tracks the development of proprietary technology solutions and catalyzes the growth of startups based on proprietary technology and a scalable business model. So through the Startup SG Tech, companies may receive early stage funding for commercialization of proprietary technology. Right, and it supports proof of concept and proof of value for commercialization of innovative technologies. So companies may apply for POC or POV grants depending on the stage of development of technology or concept that you're in. All right, so Startup SG Tech is actually a competitive grant. And lastly, to collaborate with ESG's network of partners and benefit from shared resources to catalyze your business growth, they include the accelerators and incubators, the centers of innovation, third, the intellectual property intermediary, and lastly, the SME centers. Right, so yep, a lot of info to absorb, but no worries, we'll be sharing this slide with you and you can digest it at your own pace. So feel free to contact us via this email address if you have any questions, and we are most glad to hear from you. So with this, thank you, and we truly appreciate your time with us, and we shall start taking your questions if there are any. So let's take a look. Let's see. Okay, there is a question here. Might want to address this. I've used this website many times, but found it frustrating. Many courses are not very updated. A lot of times I found something I like, click on it, then found that course is outdated. Oh, not run or brings me to broken link. That's quite surprising. Okay. Then I click on RPA, Temasek Poly, and it brings me to TP's general page. Okay, maybe yeah, we can take this offline and actually send you all the direct links. Probably sometimes we may have to clear our cache or refresh our browsers for that. Yep.
Hi, can everyone hear me? My name is Peggy here.
Oh yes, Peggy. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, so I've also tried to answer that question, and if I could just add,
Okay.
yeah, what happens is the repository we are trying to keep it as refreshed and as updated as possible. There are policies that were put in place to make sure that the courses are updated with evidence of actual learners taking the courses. So we do observe the course runs, and if there are no take up for a considerable amount of time, we actually delete them. And also the engine has gone through several rounds of enhancement and optimization, and I think in that process, sometimes the link were not properly migrated or maintained. And on the provider's end, they also go through their own portal refresh, and that's why we do have broken links. We sincerely apologize. We are not going to deny the problem. The whole team in the Enterprise Engagement Office, we are fully aware of this issue because we use our own portal maybe even more than what the business users will use because we often work with partners, the unions as well as the trade associations to curate training plans. So my suggestion is, if moving forward, if you do still face the same technical glitch, write to us. We will find out for you, because it is our responsibility to make sure that the links work. On a more, I would say, architectural level, helping users to gain direct access to the exact course page. I think that's a enterprise architecture project that we are working on right now within SSG. So that will take some time for all the links to be as seamless as possible. So there's quite honestly quite a fair bit of patchwork that's happening right now with the IT systems. But we are getting there, so I do seek your patience. And if you do suffer from any inconvenience, please write to us directly. You will, I think, Cecilia will be able to, she'll be sharing the slides, and you will have access to our generic emails, maybe even some of our personal emails. Do not hesitate to write to us if you need any assistance. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I think there is a question here. Let me see. So is there any question for Jun Yi or myself?
Okay, looks like everyone is quite happy.
Yeah. All right.
Is there a concept of relationship manager of sort that's assigned to SME startup? Yeah, Zach.
Yeah, I thought I saw that.
I want to thank you so much for this question. Actually, that's something that we will want to further explore with Unilever. We are looking at exactly the concept that you've just mentioned, and there are already a few partnerships that are going by this modality, which is us providing like a skills manager that's attached, to a community of businesses. And I would love to have one that is designed for yourselves, for the startup community. So give us some time to talk through this, and the funding is there, the resources are there. We just need to make sure that all the stars are aligned, and when that happens, we'll come back to you. So Zach, please write to us and let us know that you're keen, and we'll want to onboard you when we're ready. Okay, for certain SF courses, I see full fee versus net fee. How is net fee derived? Okay, net fee is a rate that you see after we've deducted all the various subsidies that's happening back end. So just give you an example. Cecilia shared a program by which university was this? It was a VC. How to approach a VC for funding, right? I think
there's one.
Which provider was this?
Let me quote. That is SMU. I pull out that.
SMU. Okay. So I'm just gonna raise this as an example. So for example, SMU as our accredited training partner. First of all, we have to be comfortable with them that organizationally, they are proven and they have the right domain experts to train and deliver programs on the topics. And then we approve the courses based on a price that we've also put through a rigorous, reasonable test to make sure that they are not overcharging. So we do have some internal benchmark that we looked at. And once the cost and the cost fee is approved, what will then automatically happen is all the different funding rates. So for example, if you are an SME, SSG actually provides up to 90% cost fee funding. So if, I'm just giving a very simple example here, if a cost is $1,000, as an SME, you will only pay $100. And there will be a GST computation on the net fee amount. So in this case, it will be based on, the $100. And if you are, okay, this example is a bit off, but let's say there's someone who is earning less than $2,000. They further get a 5% top-up subsidy. So effectively, you only pay like 5% of the $1,000 cost fee. And Cecilia, earlier on, she has shared about the SkillsFuture for Enterprise Credit Scheme. And that's like an additional rider that you can use to further help you defray your out-of-pocket expenses. So back to the example of the $1,000 cost, you pay $100 and you can actually use the SkillsFuture Enterprise Credit to offset $90 out of the $100 net cost fee. So there is a lot of incentives that's being provided by the government right now to really encourage companies to think about your own skill strategy, helping yourself and your workforce to be skilled. So that's the SkillsFuture Enterprise Credit. Cecilia also spoke about the enhanced absentee payroll. That's another form of grant scheme. What happens is that the government recognizes that there is a certain downtime when you do have to send people out for training. This is pre-COVID peacetime, and for every hour that you send your employee externally for SSG approved training program, as an SME, you actually get $7.50 of sort of like a rebate. It's like a grant that we give back to you to compensate you for the downtime, because you might need to hire somebody else to stand in for the downtime, or there may be some productivity loss. It's not a lot of money, really. I think it's a token from the government to recognize that there is some sacrifice on the employer's part to send your employee externally for training. And what has happened during the COVID period is that we have increased that funding support of $7.50 to $10 an hour. And that is actually quite substantial. because a lot of the courses, after the subsidy, they are really very affordable. And after you factor in the rebate that we're giving you through the absentee payroll and the enhanced, the enterprise credit, there are actually a lot of scenarios where businesses do experience a net gain. After you've plus and minuses off all your expenses and the grants and the subsidies that's given by the government. And we do this in the spirit of really helping businesses to save your business costs, and where possible, also help us to keep our fellow workers in your payroll, so that they could still get their income. They can be skilled at the same time, and they will be prepared when the recovery happens. Yeah. So a long answer to your question, you do not see a lot of the subsidies in the workings, because that happens at the back end. It's a grant that we give to the training providers. And what happens at your end as a consumer is that you just pay the net fee. And with the riders, you further get your reimbursement. With the absentee payroll, you also get your reimbursement, in say a month's time after you've paid for the course fee. So that's how it happens. Yeah, I hope that explains or provides some clarity.
Yeah, then we have another question here.
The subsidy for the age 40 and above.
Yeah, for 50 years and above.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so 40 years and above, which means if you are 50 and above, you are also eligible.
Yeah. As long as you're a Singaporean or PR, yeah.
As long as you're a Singaporean or PR, yeah. And we need to mention that for the enterprise credit scheme, even your foreign workforce, they are eligible for the funding as well. So you can actually use that to buy training programs for your foreign workforce.
Yeah. That's for
Thanks.
this this SFEC grants, right? So do we have any more question for Jin Yi or myself? Yep. So if not, if you have further questions later, you can always email to us. And not otherwise, we will actually close this session. And thank you for.
Can we pass the time back to Atma? I don't know whether they might have any other.
I'm not sure. I think it's okay. We will just hang on. Let me stop sharing the slides. No, we don't need to. Yeah. So thank you, and then we will just close this session. And I think on the L3 they will be sharing the stack of slides with you guys, as well as the course list.